is a beautiful afternoon here in Daytona Beach, Florida, as we get set to throw the first green flag of the 2005 season on the ARCA RE/MAX Series. The Advanced Discount Auto Parts 200 just moments away from going green. Oh, there's a good sight. Race cars forming up here on the high banks at Daytona, getting ready to kick off the 2005 ARCA RE/MAX Series. Let's introduce you to the drivers that will be competing in today's 42nd annual edition here at Daytona, the ARCA RE/MAX Series. On the pole, Bobby Gerhardt alongside of another Chevy, Blake Bees in the number 94.
Second row, we had Todd Cleaver and Kyle Krisloff, two of those drivers that we were talking about the Nextel Cup teams putting a lot of stock in.
Third row, we see Joey Miller with Matt Hagan's racing, 20-year-old young gun, ready to rock and roll this season, going to run the full season. Along next to him, look at that, longtime veteran Tim Steele. I talked to Tim before the race. He said, I'm going to win this race here today, so we need to keep an eye on him.
Mike Garrett, he's got a new crew chief and a new team, and it's paying off. He's starting on the inside of row 4. Keith Mert in the number 19 Chevy, right alongside him with a solid 49.4 effort.
Rounding out top 10, we have a Coach Gibbs car with J.J. Yaley in it, and Walt Brannon starting 10th in his Dodge.
There we look starting next to him, behind him, Billy the Venturini with his dad. Been around this series an awful long time veteran. New crew chief on that car, Troy Silberg. He said, man, we got it together this year. He said, I feel real excited. The car tested really well. Next to him, Larry Foyt. Greg Connor's a crew chief on that car. Greg said, Larry called me 2 weeks ago and said, hey, let's throw this thing together. Let's go down to Daytona. Got one of my old Cup cars. He said, we get a Joey Arrington motor, and guess what? The effort's paid off. Great qualifying run for him today.
We'll start moving a little bit quicker through the field, and as you look at the rest of these names, guys, let me get a couple of last-minute thoughts from you. Kenny, you're starting to see the temperatures come up in the car. You're starting to warm up. What are you thinking about as a driver now as you get ready to kick off your first race of the season?
Well, one thing you're noticing as they follow the pace car off turn 4 is that sun is brutal coming off turn 4. That's one of the things you'll notice here until that sun goes down a little bit later after we get into part of this race. That's a fairly blind spot. But you're just got all your adrenaline going and thinking this is what you've been working for all winter. This but we've been what you waited for, and now you're finally going to get to go racing.
Yep, and I tell you, again, you got to be patiently aggressive. Got a lot of good race cars out there here today, so you have to use your head. You have to be there at the end, but guess what? You got to stay in the draft here at Daytona. It's so important to stay in the draft here at Daytona, and it's something that you have to do, but you have to be patiently aggressive.
And some cars already visiting pit road, including Frank Kimmel. Looked like they're just topping him off a little bit. The 6s visited down there too, and Justin Ashburn. And it looks like the 64 has some issues as well, as that car of Matt Hagan's has made a quick stop as well.
Well, Frank Kimmel come in, guys. As you know, you can probably agree with me, he has nothing to lose. He's starting on the back of the pack. He's packing that fuel cell full of fuel. They made 1 or 2 laps around this 2.5-mile super speedway, and it does take fuel to get around here. So if they go along green, guess what? Frank will possibly be able to lap the field. And then if a caution comes out, it could play to his benefit.
Well, here we go. The 2005 ARCA RE/MAX Series getting set to take the green for the traditional season opener for the 42nd time here at Daytona. Get set, ladies and gentlemen. Speed Channel, your home for the ARCA Series, and we are
Going green. Now.
green now and racing.
This is what we all been waiting for as a race car driver. We sit in the car, we wait for this moment. Now we can calm down and go to work.
I don't know if calm down is the right word here just for a few laps, but they're going to work, that's for sure.
Feels like we never took a break, doesn't it? Back at it and racing.
Wow, it takes a lap to a lap and a half to sometimes 2 laps to get these cars up to speed, right, Kenny? And the biggest thing right here, these first few laps, is to get sorted out, get single file, and hopefully get somebody's draft. You see that silver car there up on the high side? You don't want to be up out of the draft early in the game.
No, these guys are all doing real good here. They've got themselves in line, and what that's going to enable them to do is that first group of maybe 10 cars are there, so we'll be able to get away a little bit until those guys behind them get away from being double filed.
Bobby Gerhardt, the leader. Some 3 wide racing a little bit deeper in the pack.
See Frank Kimmel coming through the field. Again, he's got to go. He's got to stay in that draft. He's got to get towards the front, but he's just got to stay out of anybody else's mess.
He's got Norm Benning right alongside of him in the blue 84. Another veteran.
Wow, strong corner for Norm there here at Daytona. Frank has to get in that draft, and again, he sees them cars up in front of him. As you look ahead, you have to get in line and get in that air.
Well, and that, as you watch Benny Chastain coming around, Frank goes from last to 27th in one lap, and you talk about a great corner for Norm Benning, Dan. But you can see the difference in the horsepower as they came down that long 3,400-foot back straightaway, and Frank just motored on past.
Exactly. See Bobby Gerhardt up front. I talked to Bobby in detail. He had a lot of problems with his car. The car qualified good, but guess what, guys? When you have a good, fast, great qualifying race car, sometimes they don't always drive as good as you like them to. They worked hard on this car, and he said, I sure hope we got it driving better for the race.
Norm Benning hung up on the outside and smoking, Kenny, as we came off of turn 2.
I can't believe that's anything good.
Don't look good. Looks more than tire smoke, I would say, Ken, when you?
Yeah, you know, it was still smoking somewhat going down the straightaway. Usually when they quit smoking like that, it means they're just running out of whatever fluid that is.
Yeah, the next thing isn't good.
Usually good. Or it's overheating already. But you run as much tape on the front grill opener in these cars as you can, because the more tape is more speed. Keeps the air from getting trapped in there and slowing the car down. Sometimes you put too much tape on them, they just run hot. But we got
a few of them smoking down the back straightaway. Maybe they got the same virus that Norm did. Wow.
Yeah, we got 2 smokers at once there going into turn 1.
One is Norm, and it looks like the 33 car is the other one on the outside, Robert Richardson. With a lot of smoke coming right out of the cockpit.
That's the left rear tire.
Yep, looks like he's got a tire coming off that car.
And he's already got tire marks down the side of the car. So we'll take an opportunity to take a break with Bobby Gerhardt leading here at Daytona. We're back to Daytona International Speedway, the season opening event for the ARCA REMAX Series. For 42 years, the ARCA Series has come down to Daytona to kick off their season. You're looking on board Mike Garrity's car. He rides along in 10th right now. Bob Dillner.
Down here in the Williams Brothers Lumber team pits for Mark Gibson, and they just came in, and he has some significant damage to the front air dam on that car on the left side. So they brought the car in, took some of that 200-mile-per-hour duct tape and affixed it to the front end and also the right side of that car, but still some big holes in the front air dam on that car.
Not something you want to have here at Daytona, guys. You do not want air getting in the hood of that race car, because it'll really slow it down.
Getting ready to go back to green, keeping an eye on the pace car. Pulling off, and Bobby Gerhardt will start rowing up through the gears. Back at it.
It's pretty nice when you can look in your mirror and you got 2 team cars behind you.
Yeah.
That's a very comforting feeling.
Great feeling, especially at Daytona on Super Speedway. You know what, if you guys work together, if you have 3 cars that work together, you know you can just about keep each other up front. If one gets booted, you can actually run high and help the guy get back in the air and work hard enough. Sure, all 3 of them cars are working together here today at Daytona.
Blake Fees following Bobby Gerhardt, doing a lot of learning right now. Krisloff trying to close in so he can get up in there and pick up some lessons from the old master as well. What a great opportunity for a couple of young drivers like Blake Fees and Krisloff to be able to watch a guy like Bobby Gerhardt working his magic around here at Daytona. If you want to learn something, just pay attention to this onboard cameras. Frank Kimmel makes his way up from the 41st starting spot, now running in 23rd.
It's an unbelievable opportunity for Krisloff being 18 and be a Hendrick development driver. That's quite the opportunity.
It really, really is, these young guys. It's funny, all these young guys that I talk to, they got a great head on them. Their ego is not as big as you would think it is, and I think they've been toned down by the people that run these teams, the management force, and says, guys, just give it time. You'll be where you want to be in a few years, but you got to do what we tell you to do. They good people. They surround them with really good people, and the results really show.
Lindsey Blakeby's doing a great job sitting there in second place for now.
He is, and I talked to him earlier. He's one of the guys that's very excited just to get more experience here. He did just get on with his crew chief, Gordon Gibbs, and he said he's a little bit tight coming off of 2, but otherwise he feels pretty good.
Guys, I got to believe right now as we see Krislov tucking down a little bit, picking up some help. Is he going to make a run on his teammate? Steele trying to come with him in that black 44. And we got a change for second.
That's hungry right there. The 44 car is Tim Steele. He is hungry. He wants to win this race. He wants to lead this race right now. As you see him drop to the bottom, he's run so good. Here we got a lot of action back in the field.
Kenny, that looks a little nervous inside in the middle of that pack.
I'd be a heck of a lot more nervous if I was in there. It made me nervous up here. Yes, it did. They missed a golden opportunity to tear up a lot of stuff there, but heck, they made it. They did the right thing, but
lots of air, Kenny, right? Just bucking off them cars. What causes them cars to do that? I'll let you go ahead and tell us.
Sometimes you just don't wreck no matter how hard you try.
That was an accident waiting for a place to happen.
And I guarantee you, Frank was having bad thoughts going through his mind at that time.
He was.
Quickest way to get yourself out of it, get by them all. You can see him tucked to the bottom and pass 2 or 3 more cars. There's the 4 car, the Hans Group car, on board with Mike Garrity. He's doing exactly what his crew chief Eddie Sharp told him last night to do. Just sit back here, ride along. He's sitting right now in 8th, now up to 7th. Up, finally, the wreck. Oh, look out.
Boy, that could have been bad.
Oh, man. That was the 88 car right smack in the middle of that whole mess.
Eddie Mercer from Pensacola, Florida, long-time short track racer, been around racing a long, long time in the Bobby John's Florida Shrimp car. Too bad for him.
Penny Chastain involved in it as well in that white 98. Oh.
The Drew White car looks like he pulls his window net down, which tells the officials that he's okay. Good sign there. Eddie took a pretty hard hit there, but appeared to be all right.
Could have been a much worse hit, though. Man.
I'm telling you, these guys in these cars, even the ones that don't have as much super speedway experience as some of the other ones, you know, they've watched, they've paid attention. ARCA's done a good job talking to them in the rookie meetings, and that, you know, they did a good job of missing what could have been a lot worse there.
They really did. And the last thing you want to do is jump on the brake pedal. It just sends your car flying in multiple directions, and everybody did a great job coming off of 4 there to avoid that wreck. There you see the safety crew attendant, Eddie Mercer. He's got his window net down. Appears to be okay. Good sign.
Let's take another look at this, guys, and see what we see.
Okay.
There's Mercer. Oh, he gets turned by the 17.
Yeah.
17 just gets in the back of Eddie Mercer. Eddie, unfortunately, wide open as he comes off the corner, nowhere to go. And when you slide back up the rate, once you're backwards, you're just hanging on.
When he collects another, it's A.J. Hendrickson that was in the 17. This is where it gets scary, right
Man,
here.
Great job getting through that. Still made some contact, but again, you didn't see nobody jump on the brake pedals and send the car out of control.
Yeah, Mercer didn't have a chance there. He just got run in.
Run in the back of.
Well, no way. Yeah, he got run into the back of.
Kenny, is there a scarier feeling than this one right here where Mercer's sliding back down the track and you know there's more cars coming?
No, that's right. That's right up there, right there. At least, you know, you're not driver's side against them. But we can see looking into that sun there, and I guarantee it's a lot worse with the down looking from the driver's seat up through that sun and the smoke. So it gets your attention.
Bob Dillner.
Just want to let all you super late model fans know out there that Eddie Mercer is okay, but here's what happened. Eddie radioed into his crew and told him, hey, I had to get on the brakes because somebody checked up in front of me, and the guy behind me just did not stop. And that's what the replay showed. You guys were talking about that, but Eddie Mercer did have to get on the brakes, and that's why the guy behind him actually hit him.
Nothing you can do. When a car checks up in front of you, you really have no choice. You know if you stay in the gas, you're going to run in the back of him, so you just have to back out of the gas. But it's a chain reaction. Unfortunately, super speedway racing, that's what happens.
Well, you pretty much know you're going to either get hit or hit somebody else at that point in the game when you're running in a pack that tight. But that's what super speedway racing is all about. Second caution of the day. First big wreck of the afternoon. Bobby Gerhart continues to lead. 13 in the scheduled 80 complete. That kind of action is why this big crowd is making its way into the Daytona International Speedway to enjoy good ARCA REMAX Series action. Here's a look at what we've seen so far after 17 of the 80 laps have been completed. Bobby Gerhart has pretty much led this thing from beginning to now, starting on the pole.
Well, he's bringing them down for the restart, but he's got some hungry people behind him, so we'll see what happens here.
Still coming up to speed as we come to a speed shot off of turn 2.
Bobby obviously got that car sorted out again, having handling problems with that all through practice. Was not happy at all. He had to make the car drivable. They had one last chance to make the car right before qualifying, and then they were pretty much locked in for the race. They must have made the right moves on that car.
Battle for 10th. That's J.J. Yaley in the red number 2 upstairs up along the wall. And the 12th car of Mario Gosselin running with him.
Mario's going to get a little help. Now that JJ was going to get a little help there from the car behind.
Back to the lead pack.
Big, strong pack up front. Good 10, 12 cars. As you see, they want to fall in line and possibly break away from that second pack. It's so important to get in line, find you a good partner.
Yeah, well, we just looked there, and all of a sudden, Kyle Kristoff is at the back of that pack.
Well, that's funny. He got to shuffle. We've been there before.
Is he having troubles, or did he just get shuffled, do you think?
I don't know. If he was having big troubles, he wouldn't quite be that close. But that car was bouncing around, moving around a little bit more than I think it probably needed to be.
Son of IndyCar veteran Steve Kristoff.
Funny, sometimes you get behind a car and just get some real unusual air off a car. It doesn't like to draft with that guy, and you have to get away from him. Possibly that's what all that bouncing around was about.
Again, there's Yaley in the 2. Now joining into this fight is that 25 car, Billy Venturini, son of the ARCA veteran, Bill Venturini. Made quite a name for himself competing in this series. Kind of the first family of ARCA competition in a lot of ways, the Venturinis, along with the famous names like the Kimmels.
The Bowsers.
The Bowsers.
Keselowskis.
Yep.
But I tell you what, Billy has done extremely good the last several years, and especially on the restrictor plate races. He's really excelled there.
Has calmed down. Kenny, as you know, it takes years and years to try and figure out this air, like we talk about. They always talked about Dale Earnhardt, how he could see the air in these race cars. It's just an understanding of how this air comes off these race cars, when to pass the guy, when not to, because if you pull out, you're not in the right place, you go on back. But if you do it at the right time, the right place, when you got to run on a guy, it can take you right to the front.
Well, and you got to have someone behind you helping you. That's for sure.
Yep, you really do. And that's just experience. It takes experience to learn that. And that's years and years of being here, going around these super speedways, Daytona and Talladega, to get to that point.
Kenny, is it one of those deals where all of a sudden the light just goes on and all of a sudden you get it, how to do the super speedway racing as opposed to maybe short track racing or dirt track racing?
Well, I don't know about that. Some of these kids, you know, they've watched and they've raced whatever their whole lives, and they come in and they get it instantly, and they do a real good job. So, you know, it took me forever, and I'm not sure I got it figured out yet. but you know, it took me for a while for the light to come on. But some of these kids come in here, it makes a difference kind of equipment you come in with, but they get it figured out quick, and they're doing a real good job.
I'm starting to think maybe Kristoff just got shuffled back because the 7 is starting to chug its way back to the front here, Bob.
You are exactly right, Ralph. He got schooled, and those were the words of his crew chief, Billy Gerhart, on that restart there. Guy pulled to the inside and just freight trained right by him. But Billy Gerhart told me, as you can see him on the track, that is a dynamite car. Billy says the 5 and the 7 are equal, and they will be at the front of the race throughout this race.
Well, he's doing it by himself right now, Dan. He's just pulled away from those guys and starting his motor his way back up to the front. This big pack right here is now real Tim Steele back in. That black 44 is slipping back into the clutches of that fight between Yaley and Venturini, side by side, with Yaley on the outside, Venturini in the blue 25.
Tim's just got to get hooked up with the right car. Sometimes two cars will not draft together. You could get behind one guy, get behind him and the car will not move and jump behind another car, and you could pick up 1 to 2 miles an hour in some cases. So you just have to find the car that likes to tap dance with your car, and sometimes that takes a while to do that.
All right, so Kenny, you're sitting there and you're running through the tri-oval like Steele was. Now the backstretch, and you see 2 lines of cars and they're coming at you at equal speeds. How do you choose? Do I take the guys on the outside or the guys on the bottom?
Well, here it looks like that he didn't make a big decision. He stayed in the middle, and they split him.
Yes,
so
they did.
I don't think he really made much of a decision there.
He made his mind up for him.
Yeah.
The decision has been made. And
maybe the middle wasn't the right spot.
Exactly. Unfortunately, hopefully Tim will get back in line and find a car that really helps his go.
DJ Bell on board with him, running along in 17th. And look at there's the 46 of Frank Kimmel up to 12th. Remember, he started 41st, last place in the field today.
Yeah, I believe the 5th car in line there, it's the number 65, is leaking a little fluid from Walt Brannon from where it was.
Oh. The 62 of Claire Zimmerman out of Denver, PA. Major problems for the Huntiller Corporation Pontiac.
Out of the tri-oval.
Wow.
He's okay.
Looks like we got a little air underneath that nose now. It won't work.
Oh boy, there's a coil spring rolling down the track.
Not a good sign. Looks like he's okay. The window net's down. Very important to see the coil spring rolling down the racetrack. Here's a replay here. Looks like, oh, wow.
Man.
Oh, boy, that was a lot more than we've seen. Big ride. Looks like he just got down on the apron, Kenny. Is that what it looked like to you?
I didn't see the very start of that enough. I know one thing. You gotta see that again. That that's going to make everybody nervous.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll take another look at that replay, and it looked like maybe he just got down on the apron, the car got loose.
I was trying to figure out how the front end got bent up without, being all mangled. It got bent up when the car gained that much air.
Wow.
Sure did.
Let's look at it again.
He got loose up underneath that other car.
Bottom of the racetrack right there. Wow. Roof flaps come up on the race car, kept that race car down on the racetrack. They did their job. So important. Another safety innovation that the ARCA REMAX Series has brought in from the NASCAR series, and it looks like it worked here today at Daytona.
For quite a few feet, there was only a couple inches of that nose touching the ground, and that was it.
We see the nose bent in the front of this race car, and that's not from hitting any type of wall or anything. As Kenny said, as the back of the race car got up in the air, it just actually bent the whole front of that nose.
Well, Claire was planning on spending most of the 2005 season racing the ARCA short tracks, and I'm thinking right about now he's figuring that's a good idea.
He was thinking Salem or Toledo would have been a whole lot better place to spin out right then.
Wow.
Oh, man. Well, glad to see Claire is okay. Well, we'll take care of some more business while they clean up the situation down here in the tri-oval. ARCA REMAX Series, providing the excitement and the thrills here at Daytona. Frank Kimmel, we're under caution. Second big incident of the day. It's Claire Zimmerman, it's number 62, went flying through the tri-oval here.
When you say flying.
Yeah,
Literally.
I'm not overemphasizing that.
See Walt Brandon there, unfortunately, looks like going behind the wall. Tough break for him.
We were talking, we saw some fluids coming out of his car just a few laps ago.
21-year-old Walt, great qualifying effort for him today, top 10. Driven legend car, Southern All-Stars, ran limited late model series. Talking to Yates about doing possibly some R&D for Yates, so another young gun up and coming.
Well, just about everybody in the front of the pack. Oh, big problems on pit road as one car has slid right through the barriers. That's the 94 car of Fees, right into an opening on pit lane. A very, very scary moment on pit road. Lindsay, you're right there.
Yeah. Big problem.
Big problems down on pit road. Looks like they pushed the 94 car back. Hopefully nobody was injured in that incident. Looks like everybody got up and appeared to walk away.
It doesn't look like anybody's injured. I'll tell you, they were coming in. This is Blake Feast's Bush crew. He came in, it just looked like he dove straight across to the left, right at the opening of pit road. I know their plan initially was just to come in, take 4 tires. Obviously, they're having to check some things out now, but it does look like they've taken care of what the issue is. We'll find out more about that.
Well, that car went skidding right through that opening, and I can tell you from watching it that there were people that were knocked over from the car coming through. You can see some of the photographers and stuff on the ground scattered around that were working, taking pictures of that, and they're going to push Feast's car right behind the wall, and we'll get an update for you. We saw some of those folks bounce right back up, which is great news. Bob, what can you tell us about Bobby Gerhardt's stop?
Well, interesting strategy for Bobby Gerhardt down here on pit road. A 2-tire stop for the leader of this race. Now, his teammate technically in this race, of course, is Kyle Krisolov. Billy Gerhardt, Bobby's brother, calling the shots there on that crew. They had a 4-tire stop, but a very, very slow one. They lost a bunch of positions. Kyle Krisolov on pit road.
Kenny, there are 3 openings along pit road that are used to get the cars off of the racetrack, and they just, I mean, there's no way of expecting that to happen in any one of those particular areas. It's just, I've never seen that before.
Well, no, I really haven't. You like to pit by one of those openings because it makes it so much easier to get in or to get out of, depending on which opening you pick. But I would speculate there that it's just a lot of enthusiasm entering the pits. Too much momentum. Probably got on the brakes too hard, locked it up, and from the angle that the car hit the wall, it just slid right through the pits.
Kenny, I'm sure that you've had in your career, I'm sure there's been a time or two where you slid through the wall, past your pit stall, but unfortunately when you're coming in at an angle like that, like Blake was, just, you know, his forward motion just sent him right into the edge of that retaining wall. Unfortunately, their pit stall was right there where the break in that wall is, so unfortunately he got through it, but hopefully everybody will be unhurt.
Yeah, it's just, boy, it's tough. The thing you got to remember, we watch these guys, no matter what series, trucks, Busch, ARCA, turn these things over at 200 mile an hour when they stop to get out. These guys that are stepping over that wall, even when the cars are going by here, it's probably 45, 55 mile an hour pit road speed. They've got their helmet, you know, and that's it. And they step out in front of those cars. Well, they're not going 200 mile an hour, but you don't step out in front of 45 mile an hour cars without rolling the dice and getting hurt. And boy, NASCAR's done so good, along with ARCA, implementing new rules. But there's some things that can still happen.
Yes, there is. And you see Blake get out of that car. Of course, he was very, very upset, I'm sure, and felt like about an inch tall, I'm sure. You know that it's a tough break for him. Top young gun getting started in his business, and he'll bounce back.
Certainly a scary moment inside and outside of the cockpit of Blake Feast's car. We will update you on more as we learn here at Speed Channel. The cars getting back out on the track, pit stops completed. We are under yellow for this incident here. Claire Zimmerman, who also is okay. Is Steve okay down
Hey, guys.
there? Yeah. What's the story? It's Steve Rose, isn't it, Bob?
No, I'm not there. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Did he get hit?
Yeah.
Is that who it was on the ground?
Oh
It
my
looked
gosh.
like he had a broken leg. He looked okay.
Oh, there goes Steve right there.
Yeah, don't report on the injuries.
No.
HIPAA laws, don't report on it.
No, we haven't yet, and we won't.
Avery, I got a report. Avery, I got a report on the 7 car and that bad pit stop. If you want an interview with Billy, I can do it.
I'm waiting outside of Feast. He's coming out. They just gave me the hang on a second sign.
The name you might not recognize in the 11, the face might look a little bit familiar. That's Chad McCumbee. Chad just had the starring role as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the movie 3.
Well, he's feeling about like Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now in second place there. He can keep that car there. He'll have a great run here today. Andy Hillenberg fielding that car for him. Andy said he's a great driver. He's an instructor at his class. He told the boy, Andy said, hang around me and I'll make you a star. Well, when he made a star in the movies, he said, well, I'm a star, but I'm not the star I want to be. Andy said, just give it a little bit more time and maybe we can make you a race star.
Has 100 victories in go-karts with WKA in their dirt series. Lindsay, what can you tell us about Blake Feast?
I'm outside of his hauler right now. I saw them before grabbing bags of ice, and they were going inside. I asked his dad, who just came out, if that was for Blake. He said no. One of the crew guys underwent some bangs and bruises during that incident. But Blake, we're told, is okay. He's inside just a little bit shaken up, and we're told that he'll be coming out here in just a few minutes, so hopefully we'll catch a word with him.
All right, Lindsay, I'm sure he's going to need to calm down a little bit. Well, you can notice the cars are coming down pit road, and they're going to come to a stop. We have a red flag condition here now with our season opening event for the ARCA REMAX Series. Reason being, if you've been with us, Claire Zimmerman took a wild ride through the tri-oval, and there is some fencing issues that they would like to take a look at along the outside of the racetrack and make some proper repairs or make sure that everything is okay before we go back to green. So with 32 laps complete in our season opener, we're going to throw the red flag, bring things to a halt. We'll take care of some more business. Come right back. Daytona International Speedway. Repairs continue to the fencing here in the tri-oval at Daytona due to the Claire Zimmerman incident along the outside fencing here. While those repairs continue, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back to Daytona. The cars are circulating here at Daytona. The advanced discount auto parts 200 getting set to go back to green. Kyle, we were talking about the incident with Claire Zimmerman during the break, and you think you have a pretty good idea as to, let's take a quick second here, Kyle, before we get to that, because Matt Hagens, our leader, is going to make a trip down pit road.
A little bit early stop for Matt. We're 31 laps into the race. We really talked to crew chiefs, and they said that window's 35 on, but maybe he's just making an early stop, get to the back, and work his way back through the front. Kind of a strategy some other teams may not look at, and it may pay off for him towards the end of this race. Matt having a great run here today at Daytona.
Okay, Kyle, let's take a look at that again now. You think you saw something about maybe what happened to Claire Zimmerman?
Yeah, if you watch here he gets real close to that outside car right there, and then, you know, he just kind of gets free there. What happens is he got into the tri-oval, and as you get into the tri-oval, when you're on the inside of somebody, it looks like it was Norm Benning, you get a little tight, and you try to keep it off that car, but as it washes up closer to that car, you're putting more wheel into it to stay off of that guy, and then all of a sudden your car just breaks free when that outside car starts moving on you again, and then the air just basically pulls you around. Got him sideways, and then obviously going through the tri-oval backwards, very dangerous and not a good situation. Got the car up off the ground a little bit, and just a bad situation, but hopefully none more of that happens today.
That video also showed a great piece of safety working, and that's the fact that that car backed into the wall at such a high rate of speed, but the fuel neck you could actually see stayed together, which is wonderful, avoiding an even bigger situation.
Here we see Chad McCumbee leading the field there as Matt Hagens came in, took fuel, start from the back. Great day for Chad. There's Johnny Leonard in Boco Bay Builders car. Great run for Johnny today. He stayed out of trouble, and hopefully he'll have a good finish here today at Daytona.
TJ Bell, reigning Rookie of the Year. Here's Frank Kimmel, listed in 10th.
Great run for Frank, right where he wants to be.
Well on his way now, if he can stay right there, even to a 7th title. Ken Weaver.
Kent Weaver bounced back and forth today. He's in 7th place. A great run for Ken. He's excited about finishing here today at Daytona also.
Mike Garrity doing exactly what his crew chief Eddie Sharp wants him to do. Right along right now. You're sitting in 6th. You got a great race car. Hang in there. I'll get you to the front when I need you to go there. But right now, he just needs to run laps.
Yes, he does. Needs to fall in line, 6th place up in that top 10. If them guys could fall single file, he'll have a good finish here today.
Bob Dillner, what can you tell us about the 64 car and their strategy now?
Well, the 64 made a stop, and he's hoping to get back through the field to help out his teammate, his protege there, Joey Miller. Joey told me they don't plan to pit the rest of the way, nor does the pole sitter for this event, Bobby Gerhardt. Bobby Gerhardt thinks he's got a good enough car and enough fuel to go the rest of the way, and he hopes to be numero uno at the end of this race.
Hagan's back out onto the track after leading this at one point. Well, we had 31 laps completed and 32 cars still on the lead lap as we got back to green, or getting set to go back to green.
Unfortunately, Larry Foyt running great here today at Daytona. Went from 5th to 32nd, that 1 lap penalty. But Kyle, you've been here before. You've gotten a lap down and you've won races. It can be done. You just have to be patient. What's the key?
Mainly the key is here to try to stay out of trouble, obviously, but starting up on the inside as we see the 16 cars coming up there on the inside of the leader there. You just basically got to hope that you can get out in front of them and, you know, basically stay there on the tail end of the lead lap, hope for a caution. If you can get a little quick caution there, then you can come back around and get to the tail end of the lead lap. Try over again coming through the field, so we'll see what happens.
You can believe Larry Foyt's spotter's talking to him. He wants him. His spotter's telling him, try and get in front of that 11 car if at all possible on the start. Don't jump the restart. It's so important not to jump the restart here at Daytona. If you do, then you'll go another lap down.
Exactly. Don't jump the restart. Make sure you have your nose behind that 11 car just as a security point so you don't get penalized again. But getting ready to come down to the green, I guess, huh?
Getting ready to go back to green. The pace car is off. Chad McCumbee pacing the field to the line, and after a very lengthy red flag period, we are back to green here at Daytona.
Great start for Chad. He's so excited to be out there, but look at Larry Foyt on the inside.
That was perfect.
Off the banking at turn 2 and on board with Frank Kimmel now as he tries to work his way up through the field. Battle for the lead already beginning. And the 9 car coming through. Joey Miller picking up the top spot. That 16 car, of course, that is the Foyt machine at the tail end of the lead lap.
20-year-old Joey Miller, great run on the outside. He wants to lead. He wants to put Larry Foyt to the back. He's looking at the front. He's just so excited to be here at Daytona, and he wants to win this race, but he has to get in line. He has to get in the draft here today.
Kyle, he got completely hung out as Gerhardt freight trained him through on the bottom.
Yeah, he certainly did. It looked like he was trying to move on the 16 car and pass him, but he wasn't quite able to do it in order to try to take that front spot and put the 16 back a lap down, but he still wasn't able to lead that lap as Gerhardt did.
Little contact between him and Mike Gardy. Again, he just wants to get back in line so bad, but he has to be careful. You see the donut on the side of that car? He has to get back in line, but he needs to be there at the end. Patiently aggressive.
The contact continues between him and Garrity. Boy, you don't need to be doing that right now.
No, you definitely don't. He just needs to be able to calm down there right now. He's got a great car behind him, as he should realize that Frank Kimmel's behind him. They're trying to side draft right here, suck air off each other, and as you get that close, sometimes that air channel, man, it just pushes you together, so you can't get too close, otherwise then the air's taking over and driving your car for you.
That's the kind of thing that'll make a crew chief crazy. You know I got a good car. I need my driver to get away from these other guys, settle down, get in line, and go racing for a while.
Yeah, that's it. There's still 44 laps to go, so I mean, there's still plenty of time. They might even have another pit stop.
It's so important to have a good spotter, guys, in this situation. He's telling them, guys with experience, the spotters, hopefully they have some Nextel Cup spotters up there on the roof saying, guys, stop this dogfight. Get in line. You need to get in line because look in front, see what's happening. Them 3 or 4 cars up front are leaving.
Todd Cleaver, who actually won the Roush Gong Show for an opportunity to get a full-time ride with Roush Racing. Bob Dillner, he's doing a great job in his 1 ARCA race this year. He's sitting right in the thick of things in second.
Yeah, and considering the fact that he has never, ever been to Daytona before to see a stock car race, that is impressive. He has been to Bike Week before because he's a former motorcycle racer. But I spoke to Todd Cleaver during that red flag period. He said, Bob, this is a lot of fun out here, but where is Frank Kimmel? The reason why he is so concerned with where Frank Kimmel is, they've cut a deal of sorts. They are both running Fords. Of course, Todd Cleaver for the Roush organization and Frank Kimmel for his own. They plan on working together if they can get together, but right now Frank Kimmel just a couple cars behind, but that is something to watch out for the rest of this race with 43 to go.
You know, it's so hard to believe. I was talking to Frank Kimmel earlier in the week, and I said, Frank, you know, you've got these 6 championships. Daytona must be so important to you now. He goes, no, championship number 7 is more important to me right now because that will be the one thing that will make me so different than anybody else in the history of ARCA. Right now, tied with 6 with the great Iggy Katona. So that's what Frank said. He said, however, when I get championship number 7, trust me, everything will be focused on Daytona.
Pull out the stops. Exactly right, Ralph. Frank Kimmel looks at the big picture. He's here to win championships. He wants to win his 7th championship in the ARCA REMAX Series. He knows he has to finish races. If he finishes in 10th or 1st, it's the big picture that really counts. He has to finish this race. And starting from the back today has been a tough task for him. But look, he's done great. He's up there in the top 10 here today at Daytona.
Never done it here at Daytona. Frank Kimmel, arguably one of, if not the greatest ARCA drivers, has never won at Daytona. Maybe today. He's right in the middle of it. There's that bright red number 46 charging through the tri-oval, sitting solidly in 4th place right now with a huge pack behind him. And we got trouble in 1 and 2. Cars flying everywhere and debris scattering across the racetrack.
Wow, tough break. Again, here at Daytona, we run tight. We all get together. Somebody gets a little loose. Everybody gets gathered.
I was just about ready to say it was such an awesome sight. We had 24 cars in the lead draft right there, and they were all doing an awesome job just coming up through there, making some laps, getting to the end. But trouble anytime can reach about and get you.
There's Johnny Leonard, one of our onboard cameras.
Gosselin was involved in that. I saw the 12 car in the middle of that.
Tough.
Is that the 38? The 38 caught up in the mix there as well. Harmon's machine, Mike Harmon, caught up in the middle. Damage to the right side in the rear quarter of that car.
Here we see the 90 car of David Reagan. Winding that down, appears to be all right, but boy, that race car's used up.
David, the son of Ken Reagan, who's turned many laps around this racetrack when he was racing in NASCAR's Premier Division.
See David climbing out with his Hans device on. He said, just get me out of this race car. Not where he wanted to finish here tonight at Daytona. We see Johnny Leonard.
He's unbuckling. Looks like he's going to be okay. It looked like we could see a couple of cars just starting to break the tails out as they went down into 1, Kyle.
Yeah, you can't really see what happens from this view. It's too far ahead, but obviously stuff happens in a hurry and you get caught right up in the middle of it.
You can see Johnny Leonard.
Tough break for all these guys.
Just nowhere to go.
Exactly.
Another late hit. Again, when you get sideways here at Daytona at 180 mile an hour, it's just hanging on. Just hope nobody hits you too hard. Here we go down in the corner. Looks like the 08 got a little help from Ed Kennedy in a 00 car and turned it on from there. Guys have nowhere to go.
It's TJ Bell in that 08.
See Mark Gibson caught up in that. Not where Mark wanted to go. Mark running for the championship. 67 car of Chad Blunt. Yep, Ed just gets back in the back of TJ Bell, and that's where it all started.
David Reagan had a hard hit.
He sure did. That was at 190. He took a vicious, almost head-on impact into the outer wall.
Certainly did.
And then a couple more shots as he slid back down the banking.
It's glad to see everybody's driving away, or at least getting out.
See the 08 car of Reagan, 08 car TJ Bell started it all. Wow.
That hurts just watching it, driving these race cars. You definitely hate to see that stuff kind of happen to you.
Reagan got turned, and that car just went straight up the banking, and then he got clobbered one more time as he came back. All right, real time, just listen. Wild ride. Bob Dillner.
As you guys mentioned, Mark Gibson involved in that incident. Dennis Pulte is his crew chief. First of all, is he okay? And what did he say on the radio as far as what happened?
I could not hear Mark. Our spotter could hear him. Mark said he was okay. I think he did drive it in. I heard him say, do I turn in here? We got hit from behind, turned around, and where's the pinball after that, it looks like.
We all knew the big one was about to happen. It always happens in one of the races here at Daytona.
His Royal Highness, the late Prince Rainier, was one of the world's great car collectors. The Monaco Principality is home to an extraordinary automobile collection, and many of these vehicles were driven by the prince himself. Join Motors TV as we take you for a guided visit.
Mark Gibson, again, a longtime veteran in the ARCA REMAX Series, running DEI Motors. His brother, Tony Gibson, the car chief on Michael Waltrip's car. Family been around racing an awful long time. Bo Gibson from the Daytona Beach area here today, working with them all week, working on that car. Just a great family, and I'm sure Mark will come back and be in the points running for the championship here at the end.
As you can see, the pits are open and service is beginning on these different machines. TJ Bell trying to get his 08 back out.
TJ didn't appear to get hurt. He got booted from the back a little bit, got a little loose, but possibly no damage to the 08 car, TJ Bell.
Yeah, just a little bit to the back, it might have looked like they were working over there. So I think he was one of them, just in front of the wreck. So he definitely caught a break there and got out of it.
Bob, what can you tell us about TJ Bell's car?
Well, TJ Bell's booty lager car does have some damage on the left rear quarter panel, and that's what the Defiant Clothing team is trying to work on, but they don't want to lose a lap as well, so they take off, and they may bring that 08 car back down pit road because that left rear quarter, as you can see it, was kind of flying loose a little bit.
TJ not only won the Rookie of the Year award this past season, but he also finished third in the points. It was a very good year for this young driver out of Sparks, Nevada. Looking off the back of the 08 of TJ Bell. By the way, the 16 car of Foyt has gotten his lap back.
Very good. See, now he's in the same situation as the 87 car was last year.
Yeah, you know, all
It's going to be good to see him hopefully coming back up through here, Larry Foyt, trying to get his challenge back in the front of this field.
Guys, it feels that much better when something like that happens. You get your lap back, as you know, Kyle, and then you can finish in the top 5. It just makes it that much better.
I tell you what, Larry Foyt's probably 100 times happier, probably 1,000,000 times happier than the rest of those guys that got caught up in that terrible accident, though. It was a tough break for all those guys, but it turns out to be good for another guy sometimes.
Don Frank Kimmel is up to 4th.
And Frank Kimmel has mentioned on the radio that this is his best shot ever of winning Daytona. He said, this is it. This is the one we've got to do. He is the all-time super speedway winner with 2,364 laps led. He won over $3 million here in the ARCA REMAX Series, more than any other driver. But as you know, he's never won here. His best finish was second. But this, he says, right now is his best opportunity to win this race here tonight.
Well, he's made it through a lot of obstacle guys here today. Again, starting from the back of the field, working his way up through the field. And ironically, I was talking to Bill Kimmel this morning. He said, Dan, can you help me with a tire changer? He said, we've lost one of our guys. He said, I don't know what to do. So we went to the Cub Garage, talked to a few people. Stan Hoover was supposed to come back and crew the car, but ended up that Bill had to do the tire changing himself. Obviously, done a pretty good job.
You didn't want to help him out?
No, I get hurt doing that. I'm too old.
Here's a look at the frustration Frank Kimmel has had here at Daytona. You can see not even a lot of laps led over the years.
No, last year was his good year. It was a shame we denied him of that. But if he says this year is going to be good for him, then we can't wait for next year, huh?
We talked a little bit about the similarities between Frank Kimmel and the late Dale Earnhardt when it came to racing here at Daytona. So many championships in your respective division, but not a win at Daytona for so many years for Senior. But really, one of the differences there is that Dale Senior led a lot of laps in here, just not the right one for some 20 years.
Yeah, that's right. He was the man pretty much here. Now his son's kind of taking over that legacy.
Yep. And I talked with Frank, and he said, Dan, the super speedway program gets so expensive. He said, I'm more concentrated on the rest of the year. The short track program, the intermediate program, we only race super speedways twice. He said, why spend all our money on the super speedway effort? If I can get me a top 10, I'm happy, then I can win on the rest of the tracks. And that's a good philosophy.
That's a valid point as well, too.
It's worked for him.
Yes, it has.
Sure has worked for him. Well, you see the lights are on here at the Speedway, and the crowd, yep, here comes a 44 car down pit lane as well now. You see Tim Steele taking care of some pit work.
Timmy having a good run today, not quite up front where he liked to be. Lindsay?
Yeah, you guys, he is pretty happy for where he is today, but you see him, his pit crew working hard here. They brought the car in. They are, to our understanding, going to change all 4 tires. That's what we were told. Looks like they're working on the front left tire right now. They jacked the car up on its side. Guys?
They've they've got some issues on that nose too, fellas, and they're working on that. You can see a lot of tape being put up there around the front air dam area. You can see things coming out, a little heat coming out of the nose. Looks like maybe some radiator issues, Kyle.
Yeah, I wonder where he got all that damage from. I didn't think he was in the middle of that melee that happened down in turns 1 and 2, but I don't, maybe he caught some debris or something somewhere.
Exactly. Sometimes you run over a little piece of tire or debris, you know, at high speed, and it just dents the front end. Hopefully they can get that nose beat out. The smoke from that radiator is just these cars, we run as minimal tape as possible, so they overheat sometimes when we don't get out there and we get up to speed. As you see, he's got valence damage on the whole front of that race car. They really need to get that knocked out of there if possible, but it looks like it's probably had a hole in it, some duct tape over it, so he'll have to live with that the rest of the afternoon.
How's this as a possibility? Maybe he had to dive down through the infield grass area to get out of the incident. And when you go down there, as you know, Kyle, you get off the course, that grass looks as pretty as any golf course you've seen anywhere, but it's a lot bumpier than you think.
It's definitely not smooth. We definitely know all about that. It's just a bad deal. It's a bad deal for him there. Obviously, there was a little bit of material hanging down below, and the 6 car's got a bunch of damage in the front of his car as well.
Justin Asborn there, a great race car driver. Tough break for him. Possibly some damage from the bottom of the track when he comes off the apron could have caused that, but he's back underway.
All right, well, let's take this opportunity then, while we're still circulating under the yellow, to take care of some business so we can show you more green flag racing when they are ready to go. There's the great Iggy Katona. Well, just behind the guy with the hot dog. There he is, Iggy Katona. Just below the great Neil Boss. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. You can see the lights are on and the ARCA Series cars circulating around this big speedway under yellow. Bobby Gerhardt has taken over the lead in his number 5 during this caution flag period. Earlier today, in one of the earlier segments of this race, we had a very disturbing incident on pit road where Blake Fees' car slid through its pit box and into an opening on pit road. Now, we are about to show you the video of that once again, and I must tell you, it is a rather disturbing piece of video, so you might want to look away if you're not comfortable with this. I will tell you this, however, that everybody who is involved is okay. We will give you an update after we take a look at the video. Right through the pit box comes Fees' car. Now, I can tell you that 5 folks were injured in that incident. 4 of them were photographers. 1 of them was a crew member for Blake Fees' car. 4 of the 5 have been treated and released from the infield care center here at the Speedway. 1 of the photographers was transported to a local hospital. He is conscious and alert, so we are happy to report that it appears that everybody will come out of this okay.
It's definitely great news for all involved.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, them accidents happen here at the raceway, and I'm sure NASCAR and all the tracks have done a tremendous amount of work to make these racetracks safer and safer through the years.
We talked about Iggy Katona just as we were going to break. We saw his picture on the Wall of Fame at the entrance here at the Speedway down. Actually, it's in the infield. Iggy Katona with 79.
Wow, that's great.
Career victories. And look at Frank
Kimmel right there.
56. But Jack Bowser, we talked about how the Bowser family, one of those big names in this series, 54.
Wow, and you know, 3 of Iggy Katona's wins were right here at Daytona International Speedway also. So out of 79 wins, only 3 of them really were here. So Frank Kimmel, maybe the numbers are there.
All-time super speedway wins right now, that belongs to Tim Steele competing in today's race. Frank Kimmel right there with 15.
See Jeff Purvis, Jimmy Horton, Grant Adcox. Great racers.
I think the super speedway term, we should say that's what, 1.5 or 2 mile and above? Because Frank's never won a restrictor plate race.
Should be listed as 1.5 miles, I would believe.
1.5 or above racetracks, be Charlotte, Atlanta, type of fast racetracks.
Getting ready to go back to green here. Getting everything organized and situated. All right, let's take you back through the top 10 a little bit here. The 5 car is Bobby Gerhardt. That's our race leader. The 60 car of Todd Cleaver. Dan, that is the driver that came out of the Roush Gong Show.
We say Gong Show. Everybody says, what do you mean the Gong Show? Well, what Roush does is they have a developmental program for their drivers, and they took 400 applicants, race car drivers, young guns basically, and narrowed it down to 100. Then they took that 100 and narrowed it down to 26. They took that 26 to North Wilkesboro Speedway, which is a past NASCAR racetrack, and they had three days there that they spent, and they did 8 drivers a day, I guess, and they ran the drivers, and out of them, they then took 10 of them drivers to Darlington Raceway. Out of the 10, they picked the one. Well, guess who the one was? That would have been Todd Cleaver.
He's got a truck ride out of it and an ARCA race for the Roush folks. There's Mike Garrity sitting in third, that new race team behind him. Well, he is excited about it. He's been giggling all week long about how good this car was. He said, this is the first time I've had a crew chief that tells me the car is going to do this. I drive it down into the corner, and it does exactly that. Eddie Sharp won this championship with Bill Baird a few years ago, and he's going to try to do the same thing with Mike Garrity before this season is over. Frank Kimmel sits there in fourth in that 46. Man, it's impressive, isn't it, Kyle?
Definitely is. Frank's always a great here, though, as well, too. He came, I don't remember where he started last year. I believe it was 4th, maybe 5th, and he ran up front the whole race and was pretty much there all the time. We were able to take the lead from him there in the late running and went on to victory. But Frankie's always been good here. Just hasn't quite been able to get to that victory. Maybe we'll see it today.
Great racer Frank is. Excuse me, Ralph. Great racer he is. I've raced with him a lot. If you get on the inside of Frank, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to chop you off unless it's the last lap. He's just a super racer, uses his head, knows what it takes to get the advanced auto parts car in victory lane, and if he has to do with second that day, he'll do it because he looks at the big picture. He looks at championships.
The number 2 comes out of the stables of Joe Gibbs Racing. J.J. Yaley behind the wheel of that Chevrolet, sitting right now in 5th, and J.J. doing exactly what he needs to do here, getting more laps in a big stock car here at Daytona. And behind him comes Joey Miller in the number 9 in 6th place right now. Bob, you can tell us more about Frank Kimmel?
Frank Kimmel and Todd Cleaver. I am actually in Cleaver's pit right now, and they are all smiles down here. And you know why? I mentioned before that they wanted to work with their Ford compadre, Frank Kimmel. So now Cleaver is 2nd, Kimmel is 4th. They plan on getting together and drafting to the front and then trying to keep the rest of the folks, including some of that Hendrick brigade with Bobby Gerhart and Kyle Krisloff, behind them.
So look at Cleaver's number 60.
So important to have somebody to help you, Ralph, on a super speedway like this because you need that help. You have to have drafted help. And the contact there is the Roush Motors and the Ford with Frank Kimmel and Todd together, working together. That's what it's all about.
There's Kimmel back there in that red 46. Now, Frank actually loaned this chassis to Darrell Basham one year at Talladega back in about 1999. Knew Darrell needed a new car to go racing super speedway, let him use it. Says it's a pretty good car. So he's got it with him here today as we go back to green. It takes a while for that big head of steam to build up, but boy, by the time they get to the end of the back straightaway, look at this, down this long 3,400-foot stretch of pavement comes this pack of ARCA cars.
Dude, if you get a run on a guy like you see, you gotta take advantage of that run down that back straightaway because you can pick up some 6-8 cars by the time you enter turn 3. So if you got a good run when you come off of turn 2, it's important to dive down, but you do need a dancing partner.
There's that old warhorse chassis of Frank Kimmel's. He knew his longtime friend Darrell Basham needed a good car for the super speedway. Darrell had showed up with a short track chassis to run Talladega. He said, that's just crazy. Take this piece over here and run it.
Give it back to me when you're done.
Give it back to me when it was done. And you know what? They had talked about splitting the purse. When it was all said and done, he just took $500 for it.
Great racer. Frank knows what it's like to, start with nothing and not have a lot of money. Frank and Bill have always worked on their own stuff. It's a family effort, and it's really paid off. See Frank looking down to the bottom side. He had a good run. Going down in the corner, he looks under Mike Gertie, takes the position.
There you go. You got the 60 and the 46 together. Now we'll see if they can get anything done in order to knock Bobby Gerhart back.
Yep. It's easy to catch a guy sometime, but it's a little bit harder to get around him. So we'll see if they got the oomph to get around that 5-car Bobby Gerhart. He's got a lot of motor in that race car.
Got 30 laps to go to get it done, so they still have plenty of time. Haven't heard if anybody still has to come down pit road and pit yet. I think everybody's good to go on fuel, but not quite sure.
Don't know, 30 to go. It may be tight. Some of them guys come in a little bit early, so we just have to wait and see how it falls out.
It looks like Garrity's caught to the inside here now with Krisloff on the outside. Which way is Venturini and that 25 going to go as they battle for 6th?
Billy's looking for the fast line. That's where he's going to go. He needs to be on the faster line, but the problem is when you get next to a car, you see how they buck air like that, you need to separate. Then he can move forward.
Don, what can you tell us about Frank Kimmel's number 46?
Well, you guys were talking about going the distance. I just talked to crew chief and brother Bill Kimmel. They said they are definitely good to go the distance. This whole crew is standing up. They're watching TV on the back of the haulers. They are pumped and ready to go to victory lane and good to go the distance on fuel.
Look at this battle once again. Oh, trouble. We got one smoking big time. The 3-car smoking really bad. The Mitchell machine down with the right front tire.
Oh,
Mark Mitchell's car has got big issues.
It is lit up. Had an oil leak on the front of that race car, and then the right front tire down, looks like. And when you get oil and sparks together, they ignite. It's probably brake fluid on the right front of that car. You see he's okay. He lets the window net down. Just got to be careful not to quite crawl out of that car right yet.
Well, you can see all the fluid behind it on the racetrack, which of course would make me believe there's probably a pretty good strip of it coming back behind that car.
Yes, there is.
We might have another lengthy caution to have to clean that up.
Got to be careful. Got to get them cars slowed down. Speed. See the pace car picks the field up. You can't say enough for these safety crews. They work so hard, put their lives on the line to protect us race car drivers, and I'm thankful for all of them.
Gosh darn it.
That's knowing that that good run just went up in the smoke, didn't it?
Yeah, tough break.
Especially when you know there was so many other cars that were already knocked out of the race. You were looking at a pretty good run if you could just keep it going. Mark out of Tallahassee, Florida.
Oh, there's Tim Steele.
Tim Steele's night apparently coming to an end.
Not a good sign.
Lindsay?
I'm with him, yeah. I got him.
Go.
All right, Tim, so we're here with Tim Steele. Tim, a disappointing evening. What happened out there?
I don't know, there was something up in front of me where there was a wreck in 1 and 2, and I got into the back of the car a little bit, and it just knocked a hole in the radiator, I guess, and the motor's going south on us.
How frustrating is this for you? I know you guys felt like you had a really good car. You told me that earlier.
Yeah, we had a good car. It's earlier in the race, everybody that said they were going to dance with me hung me out to dry, and it's just so frustrating. This place, to me, for some reason, it don't get along too good with me. I've always struggled here in the past, and I thought maybe we were going to break that spell, but it is what it is.
March 26th for the next race in the ARCA REMAX Series. It's coming your way from Nashville Super Speedway. Make sure you catch it live here on the home of the ARCA REMAX Series, Speed Channel. Gonna be fun, huh, Pardis?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Coming with me?
Wish I could be there.
You're not gonna...
in a car.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I'll be there.
Wow, I was gonna have to do it by myself. Bob Dillner's not going to have to do this interview by himself because he's got a pretty good guest.
Yeah, a very prestigious guest down here in the ARCA pits, talking about Jack Roush, Nextel Cup car owner, and of course you won a couple of Cup championships recently. But how about this new kid, Todd Cleaver, running second out here in this ARCA race?
Well, Todd Cleaver, you know, is really a quick study. To understand where he came from, we had a competition last year to pick a replacement for John Wood in our Craftsman truck. And Todd was one of 400 applicants with resumes that had won races and won championships and done things significant. So he was the winner already the winner out of 400 entrant competition to get in that race.
I asked him, I said, Todd, can you win the race when we were during that red flag period? And he goes, I think so. I'm getting some good coaching. And you're up there, you, John Monson, and everybody coaching him along. Looks like he can win this race, Jack.
He can do really good. You know, John Munson's doing a great job. Mike Beam is up there helping too. Mike's going to be, you know, with Ricky Craven in the Truck Series next year. So we're all grooming him, watching him, but we're just amazed at what he can do. You know, this is my first time of being on pit road here with the ARCA cars as an owner. It's really a different role for me, but it's very familiar surroundings. You know, the car that Todd is in is Carl Edwards' Carl Edwards Talladega car from the Nextel Cup Series last fall. Of course, the engine is Mark Martin's spare. So we really didn't put together the optimum ARCA program for Todd, but he's doing a great job with it.
Thanks a lot, Jack. We appreciate it. And just one more note on Todd Cleaver. NASCAR's taking a good look at Todd Cleaver because he had never been on a restrictor plate super speedway before. And they asked him, hey, Jack, Todd, can you run this race so that we can approve you for the Craftsman Truck Series next week? And I guess what, guys? I think he's going to get that approval, don't you?
No, he's passing, I think, yeah. It's hard to believe we found a racing series Jack Roush had never fielded a car in before.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything from the NHRA Pro Stock competition to the Nextel Cup Series and now the ARCA division.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. That's another reason for the ARCA series. I mean, it's a great series to run in. It's a good series to get your exposure in and things like that, to get experience. And exactly what Todd's doing is he's trying to get the experience level built up here to where NASCAR can approve him for his status in the Craftsman Truck Series. Another reason why I ran this race last year was to get my approval for the NASCAR Busch Series event that I was supposed to run a week later. So that's definitely a great place to get obviously your name out there and obviously prove yourself.
Looks like it worked out fairly well for you.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, I'm sure Todd will be able to do a great job as well for Jack in this race as well as the Craftsman Truck Series this year. So good luck to all those guys.
Billy Venturini in that 25 car has got a shot at this one, Lindsay. He's in 8th.
Yeah, he'd feel like he does, but we have to talk about the number 9 car too when we talk about him. That's the 9 car of Joey Miller, because Venturini's crew has said that, you know, they're having a decent run, but they're worrying about that one car because they said he's getting erratic. And I talked to crew chief for Billy Venturini, his new crew chief, of course, Troy Selberg, who says that the plan now is to find a way to hook up with 7 of Kyle Krisiloff and draft around the 9.
Getting a little squirrely, huh?
Strategies
Imagine that.
Strategies working out.
Yep.
There's another one right there. We'll see if we can get together. If we can, we'll go to the front. So we got the 60 and the 46 trying to get together. We got the 7 and the 25 trying to get together. So we'll see what exactly happens here as the late laps get going.
Billy got a lot of experience, 122 starts and 52 top 10s, so he knows what it takes to get around here. He's running an ex-Hendrick car, ex-Terry Labonte car. He said it's been a great car. He's excited about it. Tested it DIS here in the racing, the testing here for the ARCA series. So he said the car was good, and it looks like it's proven that towards the end of this race.
Yeah, they had to get to a new car, obviously, because the old Pontiac, I think, was about ready for its leave of the ARCA racing series. So look forward to hopefully him having a good finish here and getting his new Chevrolet up front.
Yep, that'd be great.
Fellas, this race has been shortened to 65 laps. So we are coming to, this will be what, lap 57 coming up?
Yep.
So less than 10 to go. Green flag, back at it.
Boys are rocking. Kimmel right where he wants to be, behind the 60 car of Todd Cleaver like they talked earlier, and see if they can get a run on Bobby Gerhardt, who's been so strong here all day, to get by him for the lead.
Frank Kimmel has never won at Daytona. The 6-time champion sits in 3rd in his red number 46. Arguably his best ever shot at winning at the famed Super Speedway. Will it be tonight? He's going to have to get by a very green rookie in Todd Cleaver, and then one of the best veterans in the series next to Kimmel, Bobby Gerhardt, sitting at the point. Look at this battle back here between Miller in the 9 and Krisloff in the 7. Garrity sits in 4. And look at, we've got Venturini in the 25 right behind him. What a pack that is, battling back in 5th.
All stops pulled out here, guys. It's 9 to go. It's time to just keep her to the floor and do what you got to do. These kids are getting excited. The spotters are talking to them, trying to calm them down, saying, guys, get in line, get you a dancing partner. Now's the time to make a friend to get back up to the front of the field.
9 cars in a row ready to go. And the 16 on Foyt has clawed his way back through the field. He was 1 lap down. Kyle Busch, you know all about that.
We know all about that, but I'm looking at the bet here that we had going on about the 7 working with the 25 here. They kind of, Billy had a shot to go with the 7, and the 7's been hanging tough on the outside of the 4 there for the last lap, but they just keep falling back, and they're losing sight of the leaders there. They're getting single file and kind of pulling away.
The 7 car of Kyle Krisloff has got to get in line. He has to find another dancing partner. He's hung out on the outside there. He's buffing air. When you get in there buffing like he's doing right now, it just slows both race cars down. They got to get off each other. One of them other cars have got to hook up. Not a good scene.
Nobody wants to tuck in behind the other guy,
exactly.
And until Foyt or Venturini can catch up and push them, nobody's going anywhere, which is the worst thing that they could do.
That's exactly right. You got Larry Foyt hung on the outside there behind Kyle Krisloff. He's got to get up and give Kyle a bump, but Larry now knows that he has to get on the bottom because he's not going anywhere with Kyle.
And because of that, Ken Weaver and a handful of others have now caught this pack, and it's a 7-car fight deeper in the field, but it's going to keep them out of a shot at a win.
Yeah, we'll just keep showing you guys this battle because the front pack is gone.
Front pack is gone is right, and these guys have got to get together to catch that front pack. If these second group of cars will work together, they can reel that front pack in, and then we'd have a whale of a finish.
Oh, Mike Garrity's just trapped on the bottom there.
Mike has nowhere to go. Mike has nothing. There's just nothing Mike can do. We're wide open all the way around this racetrack. You never lift on the throttle. The only time you ever get on the brake pedals when you're about to run in the back of somebody, and you can't do that. You see Frank Kimmel look to the bottom side, and he wants Todd Cleaver to go to the front.
He's going to work that mirror of Todd Cleaver is exactly what he's going to do. He knows he's got a young rookie up there, and he's going to do everything he can to make him nervous. But pretty soon, Kyle Busch, he's going to have to get around Cleaver.
Yeah.
He needs another lap or two to wear down Bobby Gerhart.
That's exactly it. That was a good spiel right there because I mean, it's down to business. You got 4 laps to go. You got to get by. So he's not even thinking about taking Cleaver to the front. I bet you he's thinking about taking himself to the front, trying to get that win.
We have got to stay green here, guys. If it goes yellow now, the race is over. ARCA has just told us if it goes yellow flag, this race will be over. These guys are racing hard. They are going to race to the finish.
But Kimmel can't do anything about that car right in front of him of Cleaver unless J.J. Yaley can get up there and shove him past, which he's trying to do right now.
There he needs. That's the run he's been looking for. You need a shove on the bottom side. Bobby Gerhart's hung out by himself, and he needs some help from behind to get on by him.
That's the worst thing that Bobby Gerhart could see in his rearview mirror is the 46 clearing Cleaver, because he knows now that there's nobody behind him more hungry for a win at Daytona than his arch rival and good buddy, Frank Kimmel. Remember, Frank Kimmel started this race dead last in 41st. He sits in second, never having won at Daytona. He's now 3 laps shy.
Frank is right where he wants to be. He needs some help. He has to get something from the backside to help him get around Bobby Gerhart. Believe me, Bobby Gerhart's mirror is awful big. He's driving to the top, driving to the bottom, trying to break that draft. He looks like a snake going down the back straightaway here at Daytona.
Bobby Gerhart knows what it takes to get to victory lane here at Daytona, Dan.
Yes, he does. He's been here. He's won here twice. He's a super speedway. We call him the king right now of the super speedway. Bobby is unbeatable. He does what it takes to get it done. And look at J.J. Yaley in the 2-car. We haven't heard of him all day. He just comes out of nowhere with that Shaver horsepower. Bobby Gerhart's got a Shaver motor. There's a lot of horsepower in that first and third place car here at Daytona.
There's 2 laps to go. We got Frank here in second. Bobby Gerhart's leading this deal. Cleaver got shuffled back. It looks like he's all the way back to 6th. So tough break for him getting shuffled back there. But that's what happens when you get Frank Kimmel.
Oh, we got trouble. Joey Miller slides. Joey Miller slides, and we heard smoke coming out of the 2-car Yaley. So we're racing to the checkered flag. Oh, we got
Todd Cleaver on the road. Oh, we got cars everywhere. 20 cars.
Coming to the checkered flag yellow. Who's going to get here first? Oh, we've got Cleaver flipping down the back straightaway. He lands on all 4 wheels. More trouble on the back straightaway.
Oh, the 49 car, Dan Shaver, engulfed in flames.
Coming to the line Gerhardt's going to get here first. Kimmel right behind him. Then it's Yaley and Garrity. That's the top four. The officials in the flag stand telling them to slow down immediately because there is a major situation on the back straightaway.
Guys, we knew that was coming. It was 2 laps left. Oh, we see Todd Cleaver out of the race car walking away. He appears to be okay under his own power.
Todd Cleaver has crawled out of that wreck number 60.
Tough break. He's got a little limp. He's probably hurt his leg. Man.
There's Gerhardt's number 5. This race, we were told from the ARCA officials as we were winding it down, if it went yellow again, that would be the end of it. So it looks like Bobby Gerhardt, although we are not getting official word yet, should be declared the winner of this race. Now he's making his way upon the accident scene now for the first time.
Wow, when Bobby sees that, he's going to say, man, oh man, I'm glad I was not involved in that altercation. He was where he wanted to be. He stayed up front all day here today at Daytona. Great performance for Bobby Gerhardt as he passes through the wrecked debris down the back straightaway here at Daytona. See cars everywhere, pieces of cars all over the racetrack. We have not gotten any reports yet on the condition of all the drivers, but we've seen Todd Cleaver, who did numerous somersaults and barrel rolls down the back straightaway, climb out of that Roush entered automobile, and he appears to be okay.
Frank Kimmel, once again, looks like he's going to leave Daytona not having found a way to victory lane. However, what a tremendous effort by Frank and the entire 46 team to have started this race dead last after not having a shot at qualifying, even choosing to go to the very last position so that Joe Cooksey could make the race, and now he's going to get credited with second place.
I was going to say, watching those guys coming down to the line, Frank probably had the opportunity to pass Bobby Gerhardt to beat him back to the stripe, but they both just, you know, took it as though the race was done, you know, and they just kind of both slowed down, obviously, to come to the caution flag and then down to the back straightaway.
Here will be the checkered flag now waving for Bobby Gerhardt as they will take the checkered flag and the yellow. Kimmel will take second, Yaley third, Mike Garrity, a fine effort for his first race with new crew chief Eddie Sharp. They qualified 7th, they come home 4th. That is an exceptionally great day for them. They will be thrilled with that. Bobby Gerhardt, I'm sure, would like to have raced under the green flag against Frank Kimmel to the line to win this one, but he'll take it.
Yes, he will. It would have taken a lot to get by Bobby Gerhardt. He would have needed Todd Cleaver to do that, very sure. But what a great race. Unfortunately, a big wreck to finish of this ARCA race here, but just a great day here at Daytona. You see Bobby's crew just elated. There's his brother, Billy Gerhardt. Been with Bobby a long time. Great crew chief. Dan Shaver Motors, a lot of horsepower here. Again, he's had 8,500 miles on the road for testing here at Daytona. They have paid off. He said, Dan, I spent more money at Daytona testing, coming back and forth to Talladega. I've been to Talladega 5 times testing. He says it really takes it out of you. I sure hope that I can win this race here today, and he done a great job here tonight.
The Advanced Discount Auto Parts 200 will go to Bobby Gerhardt here tonight.
On Speed, presented by Netscape, where you just saw an incredible finish to the ARCA race here at Daytona. Went on a little longer than we had planned, but nonetheless, it's a very happy time in Daytona's victory lane for Bobby Gerhardt. Let's go to Bob Dillner. Bob?
Bobby Gerhardt, the first person to grace the brand new victory lane here at the Daytona International Speedway. Climbs out of the car with the 3 in the air. 3 for 3 victories in the ARCA REMAX series here at Daytona. The Gatorade goes flying. We'll get Bobby down here. How about that, Mr. Gerhardt? The 3rd victory in this ARCA race here at Daytona.
I don't know what to say. First thing I want to say, everybody that watched this here today at this beautiful racetrack and sat down and watched this race on speed all over the country, all over the world, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I hope you had a good seat. I certainly did. And I promise you there were 2 people that had a much better seat than all of us. My mom and dad together for the first time. I lost my dad last year. I promise he's been with us all week. Man, I just had a feeling, Bob. I ain't said a word to nobody. I really had a feeling that we were coming here. And we're here.
An emotional victory lane for the Gerhardt, your brother Billy here as well. Big hugs and kisses down here for Bobby Gerhardt. But Bobby, I have to ask you one more question. You've won now 3 times in this race. Frank Kimmel, the 6-time champion, right on your tail. He's never won at Daytona. You knew he was hungry.
He was real hungry. I promise you what it looked like. What I've learned here is you can't get too far out in front, Bob. And this car was that good. On restarts, I checked out sometimes 10, 15 car lengths, and it was a dangerous deal. So I began to drag the brake. It looked like it was making it a race. And if they think it was a race, good.
It looked like they were going to gang up on you for a while, though.
Coming back for number 4 with this girl right here. You won't see her again.
Oh, wait a second. We talked about this. This car did not have a nickname before the win here. Now does it have a nickname?
Well, I lied.
Oh, what's the nickname?
That's just Sweet Pea. It's actually the car we ran last year. It's our best race car. I'd like to take a minute to thank all our sponsors. Lucas Oil, all their great products. We're filled up with Lucas on every end right here. I promise you that. Their stabilizer, one hell of a product. Can I say that?
I don't know. It's a 4-letter word, but I'm not even going to go there. Bobby Gerhardt in victory lane here at Daytona for the 3rd time in the ARCA REMAX Series, but for the first time in the brand new victory lane at Daytona. Wendy?
A crazy ending to this ARCA race, and Frank Kimmel, I'm standing by with him. He comes home second. Frank, you seem pretty excited with the 2nd place finish.
Well, if you can't get excited with those last 10 laps, nobody, you're about half dead. I tell you, what an exciting race it was. And
getting a kiss from his wife.
Congratulations to Bobby. I hate him. I don't like any of them, but no, they've done a great job with this restrictor plate. He's the best ARCA restrictor plate racer there is. So to run second to him, I feel pretty privileged. But man, what a great run for the Advanced Auto Parts guys. And the port crew worked their butt off all day long and had to fight back from that was a long start back there. So saw a lot of exciting things.
Tell us how the wreck went on that final caution just now. What did you see from the driver's seat?
I looked up. I looked up in the mirror and I just saw some things happening. I saw the smoke and I saw a car get up in the air. I hope everything's okay back there. Wow, what a big wreck, and everybody was working so hard to get up there. And I knew I kept asking what time it was, and I guess the crew were getting, because I knew they were going to cut this race short. They have to get the Cup guys out. And when they did, I said, all hell's going to break loose, and that's exactly what happened.
As our reigning champ, this is a great way to start your 2005 season.
It really is. I just had one of our fans from the port team yell up that 2 doesn't count, but the 7th does, and that's what we're shooting for. So got to keep working now.
Speed Weeks on Speed Channel is presented by Netscape Low-Cost Internet Service. Netscape, just the net you need.
Well, it was a very wild finish to the Advanced Discount Auto Parts 200 here for the ARCA Series. Bobby Gerhardt has now become a 3-time winner at Daytona. But let's go now to Wendy Venturini, who is with our 3rd place finisher. Wendy?
JJ Yaley comes home 3rd tonight in your first ever restrictor plate race. Tell us what you saw those final laps. What happened out there?
It got pretty hairy out there. For whatever reason, the Joe Gibbs Performance Oiled car just, wouldn't go very good out front. I had to be behind somebody, and once Kimmel went by me, it was a perfect match. My front bumper and his back bumper, and I could really push him well. We got by a bunch of guys, and I think it's unfortunate that a big crash happened. I think we had a shot at least running second and pushing Kimmel to the front there. But I was coming off a 2, and the 9 car got in the back of me a little bit. Next thing you know, they were spinning and flipping, and was glad to be in front of all that.
Now, what do you think about this drafting and Daytona, the whole experience, now that you have a restrictor plate race under your belt?
Oh, I'm glad the guys at Joe Gibbs gave me the opportunity to do this in Shaver Motorsports. It was pretty interesting out there. You definitely have to be patient, but we tested here in December with our Busch car, and the Vigoro Home Depot car was real quick. So when we come back here next week, I'll be looking forward to it.
All right, JJ Yaley, pretty happy with his 3rd place finish, John.
Wendy, thanks a lot, and congratulations to J.J. Yaley. You know, it was a very exciting finish to this one with two of the true veterans in the sport going toe-to-toe towards the finish line. But, Ken, also what was going on behind him, a very serious accident. We're still waiting to hear from race control as to the condition of everybody. We hope everybody's okay. But some of the younger guys really proved that they have a bright future in this series.
Oh, there's no question about it. And J.J. Yaley, you know, who has been following in the footsteps of Tony Stewart. USAC Triple Crown winner, won the sprints, won in the midgets. He has replicated what Stewart had done, but he just couldn't get it in gear in the stock car business, and he proved tonight that he can run with the best of them. And in this ARCA group, you had a really strong group up in front that you can consider among the best.
Well, Ken, let's take a look at the finishing order to this race. It certainly was a wild one, cut a little bit short, finished under caution. Bobby Gerhardt was the winner, with veteran Frank Kimmel, 6-time series champ, finishing closely behind. We just heard from J.J. Yaley. Mike Garrity also, Ken, with a great run.
Yeah, and did you hear what Kimmel said, that the second didn't matter, the seventh would? They are focusing on a seventh championship as hard as Mark Martin and Jack Roush are for the Nextel Cup title.
All right, as we go on back in the field, we're going to show you the full finishing order. You see Todd Cleaver there in 11th, Larry Foyt in 12th, Kyle Krisiloff, Billy Venturini 13th and 14th.
Yeah, wherever you look through this field, you see a lot of names that aren't recognizable as national names, but out where these guys race all the time, these are important members of the group.
Not recognizable yet, at least.
Yeah, and a lot of them are, you know, they're regular racers. They step up here for 23 shows a year, short track, long track, dirt track, two-mile dirt tracks they run. So some of them are not household names like we're used to with Nextel Cup, but they're darn good racers.
All right, some of the guys you see along there have spent a lot of money over the years and given up a lot of their personal time to run on this series. A lot of guys in the developmental program. Chad Blunt and Blake Feast had some rough days. Benny Chastain came home in the 41st position. He is your final finisher, Ken.
Yeah, I was sorry to see David Reagan back there in 32nd spot, and that car got whipped. They can cut that up in 4 pieces and forget about it.
And there's a long history of ARCA racing here. This is the 41st running of this race. This is 47th running the Daytona 500. They've been around almost as long as the Cup cars.
Well, actually, they've been around just that long. They were a Midwestern group, and France Sr. knew them well and brought them down years and years ago. And they've always put on spectacular races, but this one will go in the books as perhaps the most spectacular, and still a good race.
All right, now, the fact that it got cut short made some guys change their strategies towards the finish of this race. Frank Kimmel pointed it out. He knew he was checking his watch. He knew they were going to run out of time. And because of that fact, that's why we saw such a finish.
Yeah, but in these ARCA races, you get down to those last laps, and they throw everything at it. I mean, that's it. Katie barred the door. And that's what you witnessed out here. That has happened on other occasions when they've run the full distance.
All right, Ken, let's take a look at what happened in this race. A wild one it was, really, from the start.
Oh, right at the outset. It was, now there's the guy on the pole that ends up winning it. Gerhardt leads the field of 41 down into turn 1.
And that was just where the fun started in this one. I guess fun for us watching, but really a lot of trouble on the track initially.
Yeah, right off we had this Gibson and Robert Richardson crash, and that took out a couple. A lot of people thought that Mark Gibson was going to have a really good show here.
Now here was the wreck that red flagged the race as we see the car come in and actually hit into the outside retaining wall and tore up the fence.
Pennsylvania Zimmerman, but here's the bad one. That was Fees, and that was one of the cars that had been built by Gerhardt for this event. We're still waiting to make sure everybody's okay. We know they've been taken to the hospital, and they are conscious. We're waiting for more on that.
Yeah, very scary moment
here's
afterwards.
The big wreck.
Yeah, that was the big one right there. And here's the finish under the caution. Afterwards, Blake Feast was very apologetic for what went on in that accident. He said it was a mistake. It happened
on pit road.
The pit road incident.
Yeah, he just got in too hot, and when he put the binders on, he slid into the wall and ran over several photographers there.
A lot of look inside of victory lane as Bobby Gerhardt continues to celebrate his victory. And Ken, as we talked about before, this series is such an interesting mix of veteran drivers as well as the newcomers.
Yeah. They're regular fellows. They're the guys that go out and they pick up a crew. They're not highly paid crews, and they try their very best. And the results are that this continues to grow. ARCA is on a big rise at the present time, and they brought 62 cars down here. They are really on the rise for this season.
All right, well, thanks.
18 shows on speed.
Yep. Thanks once again to Ken Squire, Wendy Venturini, Kenny Wallace, and Netscape for presenting Speed Weeks on Speed. Folks, we got a lot more coming your way from the Speed Channel stage truck, including coming up next, it's Speed News, and then we're on to the Budweiser Shootout. Stay with us.